Now, at the point that the child moves into the next stage from this barzakh into the dunya, and that's why dunya means the lowest world. It is the lowest. We are in the lowest world in this hierarchy of worlds. When the child comes into the dunya, the first thing that is done is the adhan is recited into the right ear. And the formula, which is known as the iqama, which is done before the prayer, is recited into the left ear. And then you put something sweet on the tongue. Dates, like chew some dates and put it on the tongue. And the reason for this is that there are two important things that every human being should know about the dunya. The first is the wa'ad, and the second is the wa'id. The wa'ad is the promise that you will go back to the divine presence from whence you came. This is a promise. You will go back to the divine presence, because the child is moving into the realm of separation. They're still in divine unity. And this is why children are not in a differential state. They can't differentiate at this point. What will happen is the promise is the garden. But the garden has a key. In other words, the garden is not earned, but it's also not given without struggle or effort. I mean, the Muslims confer with the Christians in that it is through grace that people are given the divine presence. But that grace is given through effort. In other words, there's nothing that you could do to make yourself worthy of that grace. So it's not something that can be achieved or earned, but at the same time, there has to be the move towards that it's not given without that effort. And that's why in the Quran you will see verses that indicate that this is a reward for what you were doing. It's a reward that is way beyond whatever the people were doing, but they don't get that without the effort. So the wa'id is this, when the child is born, it is the wa'd and not the wa'id, because they're not in the realm of the punishment. They're in the realm of the promise. And this is why children that die before puberty have no accounting, according to the dominant opinion. And in fact, I'll get to that when I might forget, so I'll mention this now. One of the things that people whose children die before they reach puberty, on the day of judgment, they will bring water to their parents on the plane when everybody else is suffering. And then they'll actually be happy that happened, like the pain they had in this world is transformed into a joy in the next world, and other people envy them. They're envious that they have those children that come with this relief on that day. And they seek out their parents. They go and find them. So the promise is what is told to the child is Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. This is a reminder to the soul that's embedded in this infant. It's a reminder. You see, you have this in many traditions. You know, the Platonic tradition talks about this. Plato believed that what this world was an arena to remember what we already knew in the world of archetypes. Before we came into this world, we knew truths. And this world, we enter into forgetfulness. And what we have to do in this world is wake up to what we already knew. And this is the allegory of the cave, of realizing that there's a journey to be made. We have to get out of the shadow show, of the illusion, right? Which is really interesting because in a way, human beings now, if you look at film and television, which are the dominant preoccupations of many, many human beings now, it's very similar to the cave. Because people are watching these images projected from lights, flickering on their TV screens and in their movie theaters, and they're illusions. And there's this whole other real world out there. And there are people now that are preferring this world of illusion, this vicarious world, this virtual reality, to a whole other world, which the world that they're dismissing is still considered to be another television. It's just a better program. So that is the reminder to the soul. And there's a belief that the soul hears that. And it resonates. And there's a deep belief in the Islamic tradition that when people hear La ilaha illallah, that it resonates with them. That they recognize the truth of it.
Just remind people of the meaning of what you're saying. Because you're saying in Arabic.
Right. I mean, everybody knows. Does anybody not know what La ilaha illallah means? Everybody knows that, right? La ilaha illallah. There's no God but Allah. Yeah. That is the I mean, from the Muslim perspective, that is the reason we were created, to testify to that truth. There's no other purpose. And Muhammad Rasulullah, which I mentioned, earlier, is only the latest formula. There were Isa Rasul, Jesus is the messenger of Allah. Abraham is the messenger of Allah. Possibly Buddha was the messenger of the truth. Krishna, I don't know about, because they're not mentioned by name, but there are many traditional Muslim scholars that said that there are high probabilities that those traditions were prophetic traditions. That came to their people with their language and their understanding, which is where you'll get these differences. But the truth of La ilaha illallah is something that souls recognize. And kufr is covering up that truth. That's what a person who is not in a state of submission is called a kafir, which is often translated as infidel, which is not a correct translation. Infidel is actually a Latin Christian term for people that didn't accept Christianity. Infidelis, without faith. The belief, the kafir is somebody who's covering up this truth that its own soul knows, because these lower passions have overwhelmed the higher essence of that human being, and they don't like what the implications of that are. So they choose not to look at it. This is how the Muslims view it. Now, once the child enters into this realm, it will go through 5 stages.
What is the wa'id?
The wa'id is the warning that if you do not maintain your pre-worldly contract, which is that you testified to the truth of the lordship of your Creator, that you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Now, there is a belief in the Muslim tradition that if you have not been reminded, you're not taken into account for your forgetfulness. Right? Because the overriding mode of the Creator is mercy, it's not wrath. The Quran says the mercy has preceded the wrath. Right? And there's a tradition in which the Prophet ﷺ said that God has 100 parts of mercy. 99 He has retained in His presence, and 1 part He has allowed to descend to the dunya. And it is that 1 part that a mother nurses her child with, that the mare raises her hoof from stepping on her foal. So every act of mercy in this world is only from that 1 part. And the 99 have been remain in the divine presence for the day of judgment.